Hello! Here we are with this week's story. It's called William's House. It is a great story for Thanksgiving coming up. It's not about Thanksgiving, but it is about that time period. This is called William's House by Ginger Howard. She's the author, and the illustrator is Larry Day. Now, this is a historical fiction story. The genre is historical fiction. That means it takes place in the past and has some historical aspects to it, but the characters that the story is about are fictional or made up. So it's not necessarily about real people, but it is about people, the actions and the setting is during a real time. So here we go. What is special about William's house? So it gives us part of the setting, which is the time, New England, 1637. William knew just the kind of house he wanted. It would be like a house he grew up in, his father's house in England. William cleared an area 20 feet square. He used the felled trees for the upright posts. The saplings were used for the fence. Then he went to the woods and cut rafters to hold the thatch roof. He split planks for clapboards, and he fashioned wood pegs to hold everything in place. William's wife, Elizabeth, wanted a window, but William had no glass. He scraped a piece of animal horn until it was translucent, could see through it. Then he made a wide slit in the clapboards and covered the openings with the horn. William used clay and stones from the creek bed to build a small fireplace in one corner of the room. He placed 2 pegs on the wall, one for his extra shirt and one for his wife's apron. Then he made a board table with the side of a packing crate, and finally he stuffed bags with corn husk for beds. So did they go to the store to buy anything? No, not during this time. They had to make everything themselves. When all was done, William and Elizabeth and their 2 sons sat at the board, their table. They dipped their fingers into trenchers of pudding and bread. So what do you think a trencher is if they dip their fingers in it for their pudding and bread? I'm thinking it's like a bowl. A noggin of cider was passed from hand to hand. A noggin of cider. I know cider is a drink, so I'm thinking noggin must be a cup of some sort. After supper, they folded their long napkins and put them in the chest. As soon as it was dark, William covered the glowing embers with ashes. William and his wife climbed into bed, and the boys climbed onto the table to sleep. William smiled. He thought of the new house, and it was just like the one he grew up in, his father's house in England. The days grew longer, and soon it was summer. "It is hotter here than at home in England," said William. Because where are they? They're in America. The barrels of pork began to spoil, and the root vegetables began to sprout. "Something must be done," said his wife, "or we'll have no food." So William dug a hole deep in the cool earth behind the house. He moved the barrels and the vegetables into the new cellar. So he had a problem. Things were starting to spoil, so his solution was to dig a cellar. In August, the wind started to blow. "It is windier here than at home in England," said William. A strong gust blew a tree down near the house. "Something must be done," said his wife, "or we'll be crushed." So William cut away the trees and left a large clearing all around the house. By mid-October, the reds and oranges of autumn had turned to brown. "It is drier here than at home in England," said William. The sparks from the chimney landed on the dry thatch, and the roof began to smolder. So their roof was made out of thatch, like grasses. "Something must be done," said his wife, "or the house will burn." So William split shingles of cedar and replaced the thatch on the roof. So again, he's having problems and finding solutions. By late November, the days were short and gray. "There's no snow here. There is more snow here than at home in England," said William. The snow piled higher and higher on the roof until the rafters sagged with weight. That snow is very heavy. "Something must be done," said his wife, "or the roof will cave in." So William cleared the snow and removed the shingles. He built a new roof with a very steep pitch and replaced the shingles. So made it very steep so that the snow could slide off. In January, the days were the bleakest of all. "It is colder here than at home in England," said William. The boys could not move their toes when they woke in the morning, because they're so cold, and the dogs could not wag his tail. "Something must be done," said his wife, "or we'll freeze in our sleep." So William built a new fireplace, wider and taller, in the center of the wall. One day the sun was strong enough to melt the frozen crust on the newly formed buds. Spring had arrived, and with it a ship from England sailed into the harbor. Familiar voices calling through the trees brought a quick halt to the family's work. William's face lit up as he, Elizabeth, and the boys ran to greet Cousin Samuel and his wife, Constance. There were hugs and laughs and bursts of news and even more hugs. So now that it's spring, the boats could come in, and there's some more family has come from England. And then Cousin Samuel turned toward the clearing. "What kind of a house is this?" he asked. William turned also and took a long look at the house. The window was a piece of animal horn. The food was in a cellar. The house stood in a clearing. The roof was very steep and made of shingles. The fireplace was large and in the corner or in the center of the wall. The house did not look like his father's house in England. William looked at his wife. Then he turned to his cousin and answered, "This is our new home. Welcome." They all went inside. The adults sat above the salt, and the children stood below. They shared trenchers of succotash stew and passed around the noggin of cider. So there's our story for the week. Go ahead and read through that story again. Think about all the changes he had to make to his house in order to be successful and live here in America, because our country is different than England and has different climate and different ways of living. So have a great day, and see you soon. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.